Alongside Miranda Khan, J.D. Hayworth welcoming you back to Newsmax Prime. 8 days ago, a mass shooting at a community college in Oregon. Today, President Obama visited with some of the victims' families in the town of Roseburg.
And that's not all. The president is said to be considering using an executive order to impose new background check requirements on people buying guns. So what might that mean to our Second Amendment rights? For more, we are pleased to be joined by the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, Dr. Dr Lott, Jr. He Skypes in from Tampa. John, also the author of the book, More Guns, Less Crime, Understanding Crime and Gun Control Laws. We should point out, we had hoped to hear from Congressman Ted Poe of Texas, but a scheduling conflict keeps him away. John, let's talk about the conflict or the disagreement at hand. What do you expect the president to do, and how gross a violation do you fear this might be of our Second Amendment rights?
Well, I think the common feature of the different rules that the president pushed is just to make it more costly for people to be able to own guns. I mean, this rule that he wants to have that by executive order wouldn't have stopped any of the mass public shootings that he's talked about during his presidency. But, you know, what he's trying to do is to force more people to go through these background checks. I have nothing in principle wrong with the background checks. It's just that the current system is a mess, and it basically just makes it more costly for law-abiding citizens to be able to go and get guns.
Dr. Lott, in your opinion, does the president rely too much on these executive orders?
Right. Well, look, the executive order in this case, at least what the Washington Post wrote about it, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, he's going to make it so that anybody who sells more than 50 guns a year will have to be registered as a federally licensed firearms dealer. The problem that you have is that it seems inconsistent with past statute. The past statutes on this have a lot of different rules that you have to take into account. Is it your primary income or profits that you have? Is it, you know, your personal collection that you're selling? Are you doing this? There's certain business test rules that you have to have. And simply having a rule, if the Washington Post is correct on the number of firearms, seems like it's going to run afoul of the statute in many different ways.
Let me ask you then, John, about something else you've researched, and it's something that some on the left who want to see gun control have championed. That is the notion of, quote, gun-free zones. Do gun-free zones accomplish anything good?
Well, I think they accomplish bad things. I think they serve as a magnet for these killers. I mean, you can't read the diaries or listen to the videos or other things that these killers have left and not realize how they pick out these places to go and attack. They want to get media attention. They want to commit suicide, but they want to do so in a way that people will know that they've been here. And they know, and they speak about it in chilling frequency, about how if they can only kill more people than some other past killer has done, they'll get more media attention. Well, they know that the way to do that is to make sure that nobody's there to try to stop them. And whether it be the Charleston killer this year or the diary that was released from the Batman movie theater shooter that came out this summer, or last year with cases such as the Santa Barbara killer, time after time these guys explicitly say they avoid venues where people with guns might be able to stop them. And so I argue that this is actually a magnet. They try to find these places where they know nobody will be there to stop them.
Right. Doctor, with 30 seconds remaining, is there a middle ground that can be reached with both sides on this issue?
Well, I mean, if you take, I don't know about gun-free zones because it's diametrically opposed, but, you know, if they really want to get these expanded background checks, there are things that they could do that would easily mitigate the opposition. They just refuse to do it. So, for example, one of the big problems is in New York, for example, it imposes about $80 on the cost of transferring a gun. If you believe it lowers crime generally for everybody, then pay for it out of general revenue. Don't impose this tax on just people who are trying to buy guns. There are other problems. Almost everybody who stopped is a false positive, 99%. Fix it so that it would run like a private system does. If an employer had anything even like that in false positive, they'd be sued out of existence.
And we will have to leave it right there. Dr. Dr Lott, Skyping in from Tampa. Sir, you have our thanks. And Newsmax Prime will be back right after this.